Hi friends, how are you all doing today? My name is Manju and I make videos on all things related to crime. If you're new to the channel, hi, welcome. Please hit that subscribe button as I make videos every week. So today we're going to be traveling to Lahore, Punjab in Pakistan. And we're going to be talking about Javed Iqbal. Not much is known about Javed's life. He was born in 1956 in Lahore, Punjab, Pakistan. He was the sixth out of 8 children, and his father was a businessman. He went to the government Islamia College. In 1978, while he was a student, he started a steel recasting business. Now, in December 1999, the police and a newspaper in Lahore received a letter from Javed confessing to rape and murdering 100 runaway boys aged between 6 and 16 years. In the letter he wrote, the most of the victims were runaways and orphans who lived on the street. He wrote in detail of what he would do to these boys. He would strangle the victims, dismember them, and then dispose their bodies using vats of hydrochloric acid. He would then dump the bodies, remains at that point, in a local river. Javed also confessed that he planned to drown himself in the Ravi River. All of this was written in the letters that he had mailed to the police station and this newspaper. Now, after receiving this letter, the police ended up raiding his house, and the reporters also were there, and they found bloodstains on the walls and the floor, along with the chain in which Javed claimed he would use to strangle his victims, and photographs of many of the victims and the remains of victims in plastic bags. The items were neatly labeled, handwritten pamphlets everywhere. 2 vats of acid were partially already in the process of dissolving human remains, and a note claiming the bodies in the house have deliberately not been disposed of so the authorities could find them. The police then went to the river where supposedly he was going to drown himself and where he used to dump the remains, and they casted nets, and after unsuccessfully dragging the nets around and not finding anything, the police launched the largest manhunt in Pakistan in history. 4 accomplices, teenage boys who shared Javed's 3-bedroom flat, were arrested. Within days, one of them died in police custody. The post-mortem of that boy suggested that force had been used against him while he was under arrest, and he allegedly jumped out of the window. That's how he died. Now, a month after the arrest of those 4 boys, Javed turned himself in to an Urdu newspaper called Daily Jung on December 30th, 1999. Now, the reason why Javed turned himself into a newspaper instead of a police station is because he said he feared his life, and that if he had gone to the police station, he would have been killed right away. Now, later on, during trial, he denied everything. He said, oh yeah, I'm getting set up for all these crimes. Okay, first you're gonna write a letter to the police station and another newspaper and confess all of these crimes. Then you're gonna have police come into your home and write a note saying, yeah, so I left these bodies so you can find them. And then you're gonna go to another newspaper and turn yourself in because you're too scared that the police are gonna kill you. And then during trial, you're gonna say, oh yeah, I'm innocent? It doesn't work like that. Now, during trial, he denied everything. He said, oh, this was an elaborate hoax to draw attention to the number of runaway children, and that's what he was trying to do. And now he claimed that the statements he made previously to all these people were made under duress. Now, the police even found his diary that contained a detailed description of the murders, such as the victim's age, the victim's name, the dates of their death, the cost of how much it cost to dispose of the bodies. For example, in this one insert, it said, it cost me 120 rupees to erase this victim. 120 rupees is $2.40 American dollars. Oh my goodness. He also kept their shoes and he kept the clothing of these victims, and he bundled them all together. It was like a trophy for him. Now, Javed was found guilty for 100 murders and was sentenced to death. Clear-cut death sentence. The judge passed sentence saying, "You will be strangled to death in front of the parents whose children you killed. Your body will then be cut into 100 pieces and put into the acid the same way you did for those children." Now, the judge, allegedly guided by the Islamic Sharia law, ordered that the death penalty should be carried out in the large park in Lahore where Javed used to go and search for his victims. In front of a monument in Pakistan, Minari, Pakistan. Forgive me if I pronounce the monuments. It's a national monument. Forgive me if I pronounced it wrong. Now, the motive behind what Javed did. Now, no one knows what the motive was behind what Javed did, but allegedly, his motive for committing these murders was that he was wrongly arrested and badly beaten by the Lahore police previously, years back, on charges related to having rape allegations against a young runaway boy in the 1990s. No charges were brought in the relation to that offense, and his mother was forced to watch Javed's decline before suffering a fatal heart attack. Now, what he went through and what his mother went through, in his mind, he was like, well, if my mother cried, I'm gonna make 100 other mothers cry. So he then got as many boys, runaway boys between the ages of 6 and 16, and did this act, which he was accused of previously, and made their mothers cry, just like how his mother cried for him. So now Javed was 42 years old and he was sentenced to death. We know what his sentence was: to be killed in front of everyone, to be strangled, just like how he strangled his victims, and to be killed in front of the parents of the victims in this national park where he got his victims in front of a national monument. He was 42 years old when he was sentenced. Sajid Ahmed was 17 years old when he was sentenced to death for his participation. Mehmed Nadeem was 15 years old and was found guilty for the murder of 13 of the victims and was sentenced to 182 years in prison, which is 14 years for each murder. Mehmed Sabir was 13 years old and he was sentenced to 63 years in prison. Now, on the morning of October 8, 2001, Javed and his accomplice Sajid were found dead in their cell in their prison. They had apparently committed suicide by hanging themselves with bed sheets, though it's speculation that they were actually murdered and didn't actually commit a suicide, and autopsies revealed that both were beaten prior to death. I say they deserved it. You don't torture children. You don't torture anyone, but torturing children and animals just takes it on another level. Now, Javed is considered the worst serial killer with the most victims in Pakistan's history, if not the world's history. But yes, that is the case of Javed Iqbal and his accomplices. What do you guys think? Any thoughts on this case? It's a doozy. Leave a like, leave a comment, please subscribe to my channel. I make new videos. And until the next case, bye.